Good evening with your news also simulcast on Face FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Yesterday, GOB issued a release on the meeting held in Istanbul, Turkey, where discussions for protocols for the SARSTOON was at the top of the agenda. But as we mentioned in last night's newscast, the release did not make mention of any direct decision taken in reference to the SARSTOON or if and when the next meeting will take place. All that is stated was that both the Ministers of Foreign Affairs of Belize and Guatemala recognized the urgent need for and committed to working on the design and development of a mechanism for cooperation in the SARSTOON River, which should include the participation of relevant institutions of both parties and be coordinated by both foreign ministries with the participation of the Organization of American States. But despite the above-mentioned fact, an hour after GOB sent out their release, Cabinet issued another stating that a decision had been made to rescind the SARSTOON law in force on April 29th, prohibiting Belizeans from entering the SARSTOON. The release stated that the decision came as a consequence of the agreement reached in Turkey and that while a mechanism is being worked on, the two sides have informally accepted the situation in which there will be untrammeled traffic for Belize's military and civilians along the SARSTOON. Today, Prime Minister Dean Barrow was asked to shed some light on the meeting, but stated since he was not there, he can only make mention of what was in government's release. The Prime Minister refused to entertain any more questions since he was at the funeral of former Cabinet Minister Eligio Joe Briceño, which we will tell you about later in the newscast. But we did manage to get further insight on what took place in Istanbul thanks to PUP representative for the bilateral meeting between Belize and Guatemala, EAMON COURTNEY, who was also at the meetings.
First of all, I think the most significant thing is that Belize and Guatemala have now agreed that it is necessary to have a protocol for the free navigation in the SARSTOON, and the parties have agreed that they will start the negotiations very shortly of that protocol. As the Foreign Minister indicated during the course of the meeting, the basis on which Belize will start is that we have full sovereignty and territorial integrity over our side of the SARSTOON River as well as the SARSTOON Island, so that is the basis from which we will start. The second important thing is a sort of informal understanding from Guatemala that there will be free navigation even whilst we are negotiating. So we do not expect that the Guatemalan naval forces and military are going to continue to stop Belizeans or other people from using the SARSTOON River.
When you say the SARSTOON, is it referring to only the northern channel or both channels as well?
Well, as you know, the 1859 treaty defines what is our territorial waters and what is our territory with respect to the SARSTOON, which is the below south of SARSTOON Island and down the mid-channel, and what is on the north of it is ours. We will exercise our territorial rights and our sovereignty over that portion of it, and we do not expect the Guatemalan naval forces to enter into those waters unless they have to. As I understand it, there are some shallow parts where you would have to in your navigation, but other than that, we do not expect them to enter Belizean waters, nor do we expect them to attempt to stop anyone from using the waters. As you know, their argument.
During the interview, Courtney also confirmed Cabinet's statement as it relates to the free flow on the SARSTOON. But he also added that only time will tell if Guatemala's actions will reflect their words at those diplomatic meetings. According to Courtney, ambassadors from both countries are already in discussions to coordinate further meetings between the countries. After the bilateral meetings that took place in Istanbul over the weekend between Belize and Guatemala, where an agreement was reached that allows for free flow through the SARSTOON, GOB revoked the SI that restricted movements through the area. After the removal of the restriction, some may consider the opposition's claim against the SARSTOON law as a moot point. But today, representative for the PUP, EAMON COURTNEY, reiterated Honorable John Briceño's position in saying that it is important that the party moves forward with the claim, as the court needs to determine when it is accurate for a law of this nature to be implemented.
Because of that argument that they claim the ownership of the SARSTOON, was it a bit difficult to convince the Guatemalan counterparts to accept the free flow of Belizeans and boats in the SARSTOON?
I would say it's important for us to see what happens. Saying something in a diplomatic meeting is one thing. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. So we need to see what happens beginning now, when we exercise our right to use a SARSTOON, when our citizens and when the military exercise their right. We expect, based on the understanding at the meeting, that they will be entitled to do so, as we have always done. Now, as you say, the important thing is whether or not the Guatemalan forces in the SARSTOON is going to respect that. We are hopeful that they will. We insisted that the information be communicated not only to the top of their military, but to the soldiers and the naval forces in the area. So there should be no defense that, well, the message didn't reach the people in the field and that type of thing. We expect full compliance and respect for our territorial rights.
Belize has confirmed its second case of the vector-borne virus ZIKA, and it was detected in a pregnant woman. The Ministry of Health received the confirmation from the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARFA, earlier today. According to a release issued by the ministry late this evening, the case is being closely monitored because of the implications that have been linked to the virus in pregnant women. The patient is from the Cayo district, and the case was picked up through the heightened and strengthened vector-borne disease and vaccine-preventable disease surveillance, which now includes the monitoring of ZIKA, currently underway across the country. Following their heightened surveillance, the ministry this morning collected a sample from another pregnant woman with symptoms of the virus. The sample will be sent to CARFA for further testing. Vector control and public health officers, along with staff from the epidemiology unit and maternal and child health departments, are actively engaged with the community and are further scaling up efforts in the monitoring of ZIKA. The Ministry of Health continues to encourage the wider community to exercise control measures to prevent the further spread of ZIKA by reducing the breeding grounds for Aedes aegypti mosquito, by making sure all stagnant water is cleared, and to avoid being bitten by mosquitoes. The Statistical Institute of Belize today published its latest statistics on prices and external trade for the country of Belize. First, we take a look at the Consumer Price Index, for which the report shows that prices increased on average by 0.1% for the month of April 2016, as it stood 102.9 compared to 102.8 in April 2015. For the first 4 months of the year 2016, an inflation rate of 0.2% was recorded. Food and beverages category was the major contributor to this increase this month, with an average price increase of 1.1% for the month. Within this category, items such as beef, pork, eggs, fruits, and vegetables saw a 1.5% hike. As in previous months this year, these increases were partially balanced out by red kidney beans, the average price for which was almost 11% lower than it was in April 2015. As for the transport sector, a 4.5% decrease was recorded, as the price of premium gasoline was down by 3.9% compared to April 2015, while the price of diesel was up by 2.6%, and regular gasoline saw 1.1% fall in price. The housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels category increased marginally by 0.1%. Across the 7 municipalities, COROZAL town once again recorded the highest inflation rate of 1.7%, mainly due to it having the highest increase in home rental prices. Orange Walk town trailed closely behind with a rate of 1.5%, while San Ignacio Santa Elena stands at negative 0.5% and Belize City stood at negative 0.2%. Belmopan boasts the lowest inflation rate of negative 1.4%. Belize's total imports for the month of February 2016 were valued at $168.9 million, increasing 7.2% or $11.3 million from imports for April 2015, which totaled $157.6 million. This is according to the latest figures released by the Statistical Institute of Belize today. The report shows that imports destined for the machinery and the transport equipment, which grew considerably from $31 million to $56 million, were the primary contributors to the month's significant increase. Also attributing to the increase was the purchase of telecommunications equipment valued at $17 million made during the month. Notable decreases were recorded for imports of mineral fuels and lubricants, chemical products, and goods destined for Belize's the commercial-free zones and export processing zones. Belize spent almost $5 million less on mineral fuels and lubricants, despite the importation of a shipment of premium fuel in April 2016, as lower fuel prices continue to impact this category. Further reduced purchases of fertilizer and laboratory equipment led to a $1 million drop in the importation of chemical products. Imports meant for the commercial-free zones and export processing zones fell by $6.5 million and $3 million respectively. While the decline in the former was the result of decreased purchases of cigarettes and clothing, the latter was consistent with the steady fall in shrimp feed imports over recent months. Today, police officers attached to Precinct 3 of the Queen Street Police Station in Belize City were left in complete shock after one of their colleagues, Police Officer Edward Gonzalez, took away his life with a single gunshot to the head. The incident occurred sometime around 1:45 in the wee hours of the morning while Gonzalez was on duty. During an interview with the media, Assistant Commissioner of Police Desiree Phillips spoke about the incident.
At the front portion of the police station, investigation revealed that Police Constable 944 Eduardo Gonzalez, a 13-year-old veteran police constable, was seen lying in front of the police station with what appeared to be a single gunshot wound to the head. He was quickly rushed to the KHMH, where he succumbed to his injuries around 3 o'clock this morning. From what we were able to gather so far is that Mr. Gonzalez was on duty at the police station along with other police officers. He was standing outside conversing with 2 other police officers, and it was in that process of conversing with them that he reportedly took his licensed firearm and fired one single shot to the head.
And while Gonzalez was considered a vivacious and jovial individual to his colleagues and superiors, there is no doubt that his untimely death is considered as a great loss to the entire police department.
And get that individual help.
Were the persons along with him at the time able to give you any idea of what were his last thoughts? What if he told them that he was troubled, anything like that?
Nothing of that sort. That's the troubling part. Like I said, he was just being himself. He was joking with them. It was like a split second something, just in the split seconds of a moment. He was laughing, talking with them. One went inside the police station to get a cup of coffee while leaving the other one having a coffee with him. And that just happened.
Phillips further stated that cases similar to this one in particular are quite tough to interpret and arrive to a conclusion as to why it occurred, especially when there are no visible signs to indicate that one is troubled.
Marcel, it is extremely difficult when something like this occurs, because you all will agree that unless there are warning signs to indicate to you that something is wrong, then there isn't much that you as a person, as an organization, as a department can do. And this is one of the cases that we have on our hands. I know that in circumstances like this, the overriding question will always be, why? Is any of us in any capacity to truly answer that question? I don't think so. So the why will remain for a very long time.
Especially with the absence.
Assistant Commissioner of Police Edward Browser highlighted that there is a program set in place to provide counseling for officers who are battling with personal problems. He also stated that the 2 officers who witnessed Gonzalez's death are presently under counseling to assist them in coping with the traumatic experience.
Well, I know that PC Gonzalez is a police officer who has worked in different fields within the police department, in different districts, in different units. And we have had the pleasure of working with him here for maybe 3 years. And we have known him to be a very happy, jovial, friendly person, always joking around. It is very shocking to all of us. The entire police department is saddened by his passing. We're very devastated. And I want to say on behalf of the Minister and the Ministry of National Security, the Commissioner of Police, the entire Belize Police Department, we want to offer our deepest condolence to the family, his close friends, of course his colleagues, because it is all a very saddened time on his unfortunate and untimely passing.
Gonzalez was working at Precinct 3 of Queen Street Police Station for approximately 3 years. Coming up next, father of leader of the opposition is laid to rest, and SIB figures show exports continue to decline. Stay tuned.
As we reach the end of our first year of another term in office, Mayor Kevin Bernard and the Orange Walk Town Council expresses our appreciation to you, the residents of Orange Walk Town. With your support and with your cooperation, we're the most respected, productive, and responsible municipal administration in the country. We are proud of this achievement and proud of our record in office. We look forward to another year of constructive and meaningful collaboration and service to you. We ask that you continue to provide us with your input and support as we continue to work for the betterment of our community and the upliftment of our people. In 2016-2017, the work continues. One people, one town council.
Want to promote your business and increase your revenues? Advertise with Centaur on any of our 4 outlets. Ctv3 News, Despierta Belize, Fiesta FM Radio, and the Information Channel. Our rates are unbeatable. For more information, contact our sales representatives at 670-9177, 664-9438, 663-5585. 670-1275 or contact our office at 302-2216.
It's the start of 2016 and Smart is helping you to step your game up. Trade in your working Digiphone that is struggling with data connection or your smartphone and upgrade to a brand new 4G LTE cell phone for the lowest prices we have ever offered. Come in and see if you qualify for a free 4G phone with your trade-in. Step your game up with a Pantech Marauder, Pantech Perception, LG Transpire, or Samsung S4 with free credit, free data, and free SIM card. Get connected to the fastest mobile network in Belize, Smart's Zoom Plus 4G LTE. That's right, the real 4G is here. So start the new year right and step your game up with a brand new 4G LTE device by trading in or upgrading today. Cause Smart, the love.
Smart, bringing people together.
Today, former cabinet minister and father of the leader of the opposition, Honorable John Briceño, was laid to rest and given an official government funeral for his service to the country of Belize. The 2-term area representative for Orange Walk North, who served his constituency from 1974 to 1984, was laid to rest before family, friends, and past and present ministers and prime ministers, including Honorable Dean Barrow. During the religious ceremony, memories of Don Drew poured out. Here are some highlights of the official funeral.
Left half hold, right half hold, left half hold, right half hold.
Don Joe started his public service career to our nation as an elementary school teacher in the village of San Felipe in Orange Walk. No doubt, it was his years in the classroom and his work in local communities that helped him to sharpen his communication skills, so that by 1972, Joe Briceño was prepared to campaign for elected office under the banner of the People's United Party. For his distinguished service to our nation as a Minister of Government and a representative of the people of Orange Walk North, for his work as a community activist, a promoter of sports and culture, for his contribution to the development of the Cane Farmers Association here in the North, and for a career of service spanning over 2 decades, we honor the life, work, and legacy of the Honorable Eligio Joe Briceño.
Don Eligio Joe Briceño was a warrior for the People's United Party. I had to smile when I was preparing my notes for this remembrance, because I wrote down that at that time, Joe Briceño was a member of the Old Guard when I entered electoral politics for the PUP in 1974. I had to smile because 42 years later, today, I am now described by my younger colleagues as a member of the Old Guard of the People's United Party. Joe Briceño was skilled in the rough and tumble of politics, especially when he was fighting for the Cañeros of the North. We've come a long way, Joe, from those early days, but the struggle still continues. The cane farmers are once again going through a very difficult time. Joe Briceño was a fierce nationalist. We were colleagues together in the PUP government of '79, fighting for the independence of Belize. This was the cabinet led by Premier George Price, which orchestrated the internationalization of our nation's right to self-determination.
Indeed, there were so many people we must thank for so much. If ever there was a man who loved people, it was our dad. And that love and appreciation for others, he passed it on to his children. Make no mistake about it. The love and support you are showing to us and for our dad is the strength that is helping our family make it through this inevitable goodbye. So again, thank you. On Sunday morning, that there was more food in case some friend needed something to eat. See, my dad believed in what he believed in. He valued what he valued. And what he believed in was the goodness of people, and what he valued most was family. He would forgive us for many things, but what was unforgivable was missing at any important family event. For him, birthdays, special holidays, and particularly Christmas were about family and about loving each other. And if a friend or neighbor should unexpectedly drop by, we were required to love them too. Vanessa, Maritza, and his late wife, Ramona, knew all too well those times when our father would never be able to give them a specific number of guests who were invited to come to eat on his birthday. My father saw obstacles as things you moved out of your way, and so refused to be held back once he decided his people needed something. And tied up in all this was always that spirit of generosity. He truly believed in that biblical saying, "It is more blessed to give than to receive," and he lived that creed to his dying day.
As mentioned in last night's newscast, Elijah Joe Senior was a pioneer of the Social Security. He was also responsible for the construction of Orange Walk People's Stadium and the expansion of the Louisiana area. As we told you at the top of the newscast today, the Statistical Institute of Belize issued its latest statistics for the month of April 2016, including exporting figures which continue to decline. Domestic exports for April 2016, this totaled $37.6 million, a 34.3% or $19.6 million decrease from the $57.2 million recorded in April 2015, with all of Belize's major commodities declining during the month, including sales of marine products, which fell by more than $1 million, down from $5.3 million to $4.2 million. Sugar was the greatest contributor to that decrease, with earnings falling from $14.4 million to $2.4 million compared to April 2015. This drop was a result of a change in the scheduling of large shipments of sugar, such that only bagged sugar was exported in April 2016. Banana, crude petroleum, and marine exports also fell during the month, with earnings declining by a combined $5.6 million. On the other hand, the citrus was the only major export to see some growth in the month of April, increasing by $1.2 million from $14 million in April 2015 to $15.2 million in April of this year, due almost entirely to improved orange concentrate sales. For the first 4 months of the year, merchandise exports for the period January to April totaled $141.6 million, down 29.5% or $59.1 million from the $200.7 million recorded for the same period last year, and earnings from all major exports fell during the period. Marine exports, however, recorded the steepest drop in export earnings, falling by over $22 million in comparison to the first 4 months of 2015, as the shrimp industry continues to restock its ponds. The latest statistics coming out of the Statistical Institute of Belize shows that domestic exports for April 2016 reduced by $19.6 million compared to April 2015. This has been the trend since we hit 2016, and it seems that the Ministry of Economic Development, Petroleum Investment, Trade and Commerce and the Belize Agricultural Health Authority are willing to do their part to get back the exporting market on its feet. Yesterday, both units held a public-private sector consultation with the objective of sharing useful information with local producers on exporting opportunities that exist for their products in larger markets that are readily available for trade. Apart from broadening their knowledge, entrepreneurs were also given the opportunity to talk about the challenges they are currently facing.
We wanted to find out from them, you know, in terms of products that might be available for trade that they have available. We also want to find out about their challenges. What challenges are they facing? Because if they're facing certain challenges, we also ask them to fill out a questionnaire. That questionnaire provides a lot of data to us. We will analyze the data and then also provide feedback to them. But in terms of the challenges, how can we help them to address some of those challenges? Because some of the members that are in there are not large producers, but they have products. And so the question is, how do we get them to find avenues, to help them to find avenues? If we know other, we can actually partner them with other institutions to see where some of these investment opportunities that might help them to get their products into these markets that we're talking about. Because we looked at the CARICOM market, we look at the European Union market, we also look at Latin America. Those are a lot of markets, but then you can have access to all these markets, but if you don't have products to put in there, then see what happens. Then that becomes a big challenge. So we need to know, if we say, for example, let us say we're negotiating with Mexico. These are the list of products that Belize have that are ready to go into your market. That's what we want to find out from them.
In order for Belize's economy to benefit from the domestic exports, it is essential for entrepreneurs to establish and maintain partnership with the public sector, says Dr. Leroy Almendares, Director General of Foreign Trade.
Once we have that network, we can share ideas, we can share ways of doing things, we can find, because we also look at best practices, they find more efficient ways of doing things, because if you find more efficient ways of producing or doing business, then it means that it's easier for you and you'll be able to produce more for the market. But the major thing now is to stay in touch. They must not be afraid to take chances, because sometimes they're afraid to take chances, and if they're not afraid to take chances, then working together, because the major thing for us here is the public-private partnership. We want to partner with each other, and through this partnership, we can grow Belize.
As it pertains to both importation and exportation of goods, the Belize Agricultural Health Authority plays a significant role in safeguarding both agricultural and human health as well as trade. Highlighting that key factor yesterday, SPS Coordinator of Baja, Delilah Cabayala.
Baja's key role is twofold. One is to safeguard agricultural health and human health, and also to facilitate trade. In safeguarding agricultural health and human health, we need to ensure that when people are importing any products into Belize, they meet the requirements so that they don't introduce any disease or any pest that could then be devastating for this country. And of course, we're looking also at the health of humans, because if it's food to be consumed, we want to ensure that it's actually safe and that it is wholesome. Now, in exportation, it is our responsibility to ensure that products that are leaving Belize are actually meeting the requirements of the importing country. And the main objective of today's session then, from Baja's perspective, was to ensure that we explain the steps associated with import regulation and export certification to our stakeholders, so that they're very much sensitized as to what they need to do if they want to import a product into Belize or if they want to export something to another market.
The public-private consultations are also scheduled to be held in Bawapan, Spanish Lookout, and in Dangriga. During his interview with the media today, representative of the PUP in the bilateral negotiations between Belize and Guatemala, EAMON COURTNEY, also indicated that the PUP's scheduled trip to the SARSTOON was brought up during the meetings in Istanbul by Foreign Minister of Guatemala, who viewed the trip as additional provocation to the volatile situation between both countries. But COURTNEY completely rejects their opinion, as he believes that all Belizeans have the right to visit every part of Belize, including the SARSTOON.
The Foreign Minister of Guatemala did mention the fact that the proposed trip by the People's United Party was, in his view and in his words, provocative. Our side didn't respond to it, but as you know, we believe that we have a right to travel in the SARSTOON and to travel anywhere in the 8,867 square miles of Belize. It is regrettable that Guatemala will regard that as being provocative, but it is a right that the People's United Party believes that every Belizean has a right to exercise, and we as a party, if necessary, will do it.
The Deputy Secretary General of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, Ambassador Manorma P. Sognandan, is currently in Belize for a 3-day working visit. During her stay in Belize, Dr. Sognandan will be meeting with officials of the government of Belize, as well as representatives of the various CARICOM institutions headquartered in Belize. Dr. Sognandan completed a visit to the OAS office in the adjacency zone, where she was briefed on the latest developments taking place in the adjacency zone between Belize and Guatemala yesterday. In demonstrating their strong support for Belize, CARICOM foreign ministers at the 19th meeting of the Council of Foreign and Community Relations, COFCOR, emphasized their resolute support for the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and security of Belize. Dr. Sognandan leaves Belize tomorrow, May 26th. When we come back, there is a new place to burn some calories in COROZAL. Stay tuned.
We rely so much on the internet. Shouldn't it be effortless? With Smart 4G LTE, experience an uncomplicated, smooth, accessible network of speed and reliability. Changing the face of mobile internet in Belize. Smart's 4G LTE has low-cost packages to suit your personalized internet needs, starting at only $35. And also offers specialized social media packages for as little as $15 for an entire gig. Dial Star Data to purchase a package. Visit your nearest Smart showroom or visit us online for more information.
The Central American Council of Human Rights Defenders Ombudsman to Belize City was reformed in February of last year and is comprised of all 7 Central American countries, including Belize, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. The Council's term of office is rotated each year among the 7 countries that all get the opportunity to assume the role of presidency. This year, the Ombudsman of Belize has the privilege to take on the responsibility for the year 2016 to 2017 and has therefore welcomed all members of the Council to our country to engage in conferences regarding important matters such as the formulation of plans and projects. The main functions of the Council include fortifying and safeguarding human rights of the Central American people, exchanging experiences on issues of both national and regional concerns, and advocating for improvements in the quality of life within the region and among member countries. The scheduled activities began today with a forum based on the topic of internal displacement and forced migration, as it is a subject of major concern that affects the Central American region. During their 3-day stay in Belize, the Ombudsman will also witness the moment when the presidency is handed over to Belize. A place for all to keep healthy through exercise. That's what Rotary International, COROZAL ITVET, and the COROZAL Town Council envisions for a beachfront park in the Rainbow Beach area of COROZAL Town. According to John Nelson, coordinator for the Rotary International COROZAL, 2 out of 10 items installed at the park are part of a project that should be completed within the next 6 months.
We're working on a fitness park here with the Town Council in partnership with the ITVET Technical School to create and use some of the space that we have down by the seafront. But what we hope to do eventually is have about 8 or 10 pieces where we're going to have pull-up bars, there'll be parallel bars, there will be sit-up boards, there'll be enough equipment here where people, families, groups can come down and get a whole full-body workout here in the park. And then as these pieces are built, once we get 2 or 3 pieces completed, we'll bring those down and install them. But we hope to have all this done over the next 3 to 6 months.
Nelson is hopeful that upon completion, the park will not only serve for exercising, but also for physical therapy for injured persons, especially those that have prosthetic limbs.
It'll also be a place where we hope that we can get people from, or handicapped people to come down, that we're working also with Rotary, people that are working with getting prosthetics to come with some of the parallel bars and build up their upper body strength and basically do some physical therapy down here by the seafront. And we're working with various doctors and groups in the area that are working with people that need prosthetic limbs. It's a project called Gift of Limbs, and we're coordinating with some of the doctors that come down from the States a few times a year and help do this in Orange Walk.
The equipment you see today at the park was installed by students and instructors of ITVET COROZAL. Without their assistance, the latest achievement would not have been possible.
The COROZAL ITVET has a wonderful working relationship with Rotary. We've partnered on this occasion to help put together, build some of the equipment, some of the structures that are going to be installed here at the park to, as John explained, to facilitate for more fun activities, physical activity, recreational in general, and some of it could be therapeutic as well. So ITVET is very happy that we can assist, as John mentioned, with welding, the actually building of some of the equipment that's going to be used for this purpose. Primarily, it's the students in the building and ground maintenance that are doing the welding. They're learning, but they're also applying some of the techniques, skills that they've already mastered. Of course, all of this happens under the supervision of the instructor. And one of the Rotary International members is actually a certified welder in the U.S. as well. And he has also given his input and some of the skills to ensure that it's a quality end product.
The new Rainbow Beach Park should be inaugurated within the next 3 to 6 months, and all equipment will be installed by students of the Building and Maintenance section of ITVET COROZAL. On February 10, 2016, the governments of Belize and Taiwan signed a 3-year agreement to improve public health in Belize. The $2.2 million project from the Taiwanese government will be used principally for a project targeting the prevention and control of chronic renal failure, or what you might know as kidney disease, which has resulted to be a huge problem in Belize. The first disbursement of $34,500 for the capacity building project for the prevention and control of chronic renal failure in Belize will be received by the Ministry of Health at an official ceremony that will be held on May 30th. Training for the project will be provided to general practitioners and dialysis nurses in Taiwan, while local training programs will be conducted for case managers and community health workers in identification and management of risk factors for kidney failure. Furthermore, the project also includes the establishment and launch of a tracking and management system for chronic disease cases in medical facilities. In addition to the first disbursement of the project, a Taiwanese delegation will be donating 100 dialysers for hemodialysis to the Ministry of Health, and centers that will benefit from this project include the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital and La Loma Luz Adventist Hospital, among others. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, May 26th, here on Ctv3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.